we are going to learn how to use the fetch function of JavaScript and get some data from a particular URL and show it in our application. So I am using React as frontend here, and I'll be calling a URL request.in/API/user that is mentioned in the screen, if you can see here, and it will give me some data like data of the users, basically a user list which contains various different data like ID, email, first name, last name, and avatar. So here, if you can see, it is a list of users. That means it is a list of objects, object being the user. And let me just beautify this thing so that you can check it out. Okay, so this is the JSON viewer. In this you can paste your JSON and you can see your data at the right panel. Yes, so this is the JSON structure we are going to follow in our web app. Then if you can see, there is a URL, image URL of an author. If I will place this in a Google Chrome browser, you can see we can view a picture. So we'll be using this URL, and I have already built a application in React. I'm just going to cut it out here. Okay, remove that. Okay, so now it's blank. Okay, so to start first, let me just do one thing. Firstly, take this URL and paste it here, as we are going to use this URL in our application. We comment it out and paste it. Yes. This will be the URL. Okay. Now firstly, I need a state. I'll take a state data. I'll be using the use state, one of the React hooks, as I'm using the functional component. And here we'll take the initial value as a null array, empty array. Then after this thing, we'll take a use effect because we need to call the API when our application loads. So use effect will do that thing. Let me remove the input. Yes. So those who are wondering how I am getting all the snippets, I'll tell you in the end of the session about the snippet. So here we'll call the fetch API and we'll fetch the data from the URL. Now, so structure is ready, but let us add something here. Like we need to display something after getting the data. We just cannot leave the data like that. We need to represent it in a proper way. For that, I'll create a component, a card component for each user. Let's make a folder first. The user card. It will contain two files. First, the index file of the component. That will be user card. Okay. About this thing. User card. Yes, if you will just install a single thing in our VS Code, that is ES7 code snippet for React, Redux, GraphQL and all. You can also get React Native code snippets here. You can use it in your VS Code. Yes. Okay, now inside div we need to show all the details that we are getting in the JSON. That will be your name, email and the profile picture, the avatar. So firstly, for the profile picture, let's have a src. We'll complete this later. Give it a width of 100, a height of 100. Yes. After this, let's give it the name and the email. So firstly, let me just give all the class names. this will be the name text. I'll call it email text. Now so let's call the API first. Let's see how the data is coming. So to start with, we have to first write the fetch function, and we have to use a promise here. That will be the dot then and dot catch, the promise that we get, as this is operated by the network, so there could be delay, so we are using the fetch with a promise. And we'll paste this URL first. After that, we'll use a dot then. Inside this, let's give a response res. Firstly, we need to convert the entire response into a JSON first. After converting to a JSON, then let's first print out our whatever we're getting in the response. Let's console it. Also, we need to put a dot catch to handle some exceptions, and we'll also console this thing. Okay, so yes, we're getting an object now. If you can see, we have data and page per page, all the details we're getting in the URL. Here, if you can see, we have email, first name, last name, same thing we are getting in the JSON. Yes, it's the avatar URL. But we need to only access the data, not the entire response. This data, if you can see, we need to access this thing. So we'll write response to data and again check. Now if you can see, let me clear it. Reload, I think, reload. Yes. So if you can see, we are getting all the data in a list. We just need to now set this list. Instead of doing console log, we'll just do set data and thus response.data. So now our data is loaded in the useState using useState. So now we'll just do a simple, as we are having a list of data, we need to represent it dynamically. We don't know what will be the length of the list and the content of the list, so we are using map function. First we'll check if there is a, like, it is a null or the empty list. If not, then we'll use a map function where it will return that particular card that we have created. Now we need to send data in a prop. Correct, we need to send the user object in our map function to that component. Do that thing, we need a prop, let's say card details. Props card details. Let's send it card details. Now we can just populate all these fields. Card details dot. Yeah, remember to yes, this avatar. Okay, the question mark here, it is just for null values. What if the card detail is null? So that's why we use a question mark, then we use dot operator. We'll use this thing for all. First name, concatenate with the last name. same for email. Yes. Okay, so like the skeletal thing is done. Now we can see all the datas. Okay, let me just reload. Yes, if you can see, we are getting all the data like the profile picture with the name as well as the email also. Yes. So now actually the job is done, but let's add some CSS in it. Let's not make it that dull. Let me add display flex and a flex direction column. Yes, make it to center. Yes. Now to add some CSS in the container. Save this now. Okay, I forgot to import. Dot slash user CSS. Okay. Yes. So if you can see now the CSS is applied, and to just make some text bold. So yes, after using all this, we can get a very attractive cards. So this was all for this tutorial, and this is how we get some data from a URL and show it in our web app. If you like the video, please like the video, comment if you have any doubts or if you face any queries, and please subscribe if you want videos like this, and also click the bell icon. Thank you everyone. That was all. If you want the source code, I'll be adding the source code in the description, following with the JSON beautifier URL and the URL for this datas. Get everything